Hello, everybody. I am HeroicNerd, and today we are talking about another Marvel monster. Today we're talking about an alien with a massive body and a strange set of powers. Today we're talking about the vile conqueror known as Goom. Okay, but first let's talk about the elephant in the room. Goom, right? For lack of better word, looks like a moron. I don't know, maybe I'm being judgmental here, but he has this rough, coarse skin with bright orange tint to it, and he has a massive head with small, beady little eyes, and on top of that, he has two giant buck teeth. So he's not really the intimidating type, even though he is strong enough to rip trees straight from the ground. And also, he's got psychic powers. Also, he uses advanced technologies far superior to ours, and he can fly using the flaps of skin under his arms. Yes, there are flaps of skin under his arms, none of which help make him look any less dumb. But it's just that's par for the course when it comes to Marvel monsters. Some of them look cooler than others, and some of them have more interesting concepts than others. However, at the end of the day, their obscurity and their oddity are the main reasons why they have been chosen for this playlist. So having said that, let's get into it. The story of Goom begins with a scientist. Now, this scientist does not have a name yet, and he will not have a name for the rest of this story. For our purposes, he shall be known simply as the scientist, and he has a particular aptitude for sending messages into space. Of course, nobody believes in aliens, so he is known as a hack and a crackpot among his peers. So he decides to take his wife into the mountains and build a machine which sends messages into space in hopes that he can contact life forms from among the stars. And, unfortunately, something out in the vastness of space actually hears the scientist and decides to respond. Not long after his message is sent, an alien craft lands nearby as if to directly respond to the scientist's summons. This spacecraft happens to be the primary mode of transport for none other than Goom. Of course, Goom has nothing but malice for humanity, and so the scientist and his wife run into the forest to protect themselves from the gargantuan extraterrestrial. But that does little to help them because Goom intends to hold the couple hostage, and he has no problem accomplishing his goal. So now, as you can imagine, the scientist regrets sending his messages into space. Why on earth would he do this to himself anyway? Well, he did it because he was certain that whatever alien beings he encountered would be more advanced than humanity and therefore probably benevolent. He definitely staked his life on this, but it turned out to be a bad bet, and now he's inches away from dying. However, the scientist is about to learn that his hypothesis was not exactly incorrect. So now Goom explains what his goals are. It turns out he wants to conquer Earth, which is, I don't know, no surprise to us. It's par for the course. However, what is a surprise to us is that he intends to use the scientist and his wife as messengers for his conquest. Of course, the scientist refuses, so Goom gives him a demonstration of his tremendous powers and threatens to murder his wife if he doesn't do as he's told. As it turns out, Goom's message was a lie. He claimed to be a peaceful creature and hoped that he could meet with the leaders of the world. However, when his audience is assembled, he turns tail and reveals his true intentions. Remarkably, people are not happy about the concept of being conquered, so Goom takes a man and places him in his time machine and forces everyone to watch as the man reverts back into a mere harmless baby. Now, I know you're probably laughing at that, but I mean, I did. I'm still laughing about it. But you have to admit, of all the convoluted ways to intimidate someone, using a time machine to turn them into a baby is at least original. Next, in a brilliant display of power, Goom uses his telekinetic abilities to lift the entire city into space, which is a ridiculous concept because how did he get the entire city through the atmosphere? Also, everyone is freaking out, but I don't see how they're even breathing if they're in space, and it's kind of funny because he never returns it to its original position, so my assumption is in the Marvel continuity, this city is just floating in space forever. So now all hope seems lost as Goom has accumulated power, but as is a constant theme in these kinds of stories, what goes up simply must come down. And how does Goom meet his demise? Well, the scientist decides to send another message into space to summon more members of Goom's species, which I know sounds like a terrible idea, but get this, it actually works out. As it turns out, the scientist was originally correct in his first assumption. When the visitors arrive, they explain that Goom comes from a place known as Planet X, where they live in utopia without crime or violence. Goom is the only member of Planet X who is a criminal and a madman, so they drag him back to their ship and take him back to Planet X, where he will be punished for his crimes against humanity. So the scientist was correct after all. Aliens truly are benevolent beings, and he just had the rotten luck of contacting the one bad one out of the bunch. Well, that sucks for him, but it's great for us because this first meeting would have greater effects on the Marvel Universe. For example, Goom would return a few other times in the Marvel Universe, some of them funnier than others. First, he would return in the Incredible Hulk Annual number 5, where he would team up with Taboo, Diablo, Groot, and the Blip in a 5-on-1 battle against the Incredible Hulk, kind of like Incredible Hulk versus the Elementals type thing. And he would be defeated, obviously, because Hulk is and always will be the strongest one there is. Goom does his best, but he's no match for the Hulk. His appearance makes him appear powerful, but the Hulk has muscles and Goom has a giant ego. So his giant ego is perfectly interpreted here. He's still making threats and demands as if he's not about to get completely trashed by the Hulk. Overall, it's a decent fight, but it ends badly when Hulk literally drops a mountain on top of Goom, and he ends up stuck under this like massive pile of rocks. Then we have Goom in Uncanny X-Men Volume 3, number 33, where Shadowcat and Magic get stuck on Monster Island, but he doesn't do very much, he's just kind of hanging out. So that's it for this episode, but would you believe that that's actually not the end for Goom? Like, what if I told you that this was just the beginning, believe it or not? Because Goom has a son. You're not gonna believe this. His name is Googam, and he is the son of Goom. And you're not gonna believe what this guy is all about, but that's for next time, okay? As for now, that's it for this comic. If you liked reading this comic with me and you want to read more comics with me, like this video and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, nerds, stay heroic.